Now that the Batman movie has come and gone and another actor has been added to the Infinity Gauntlet of Bruce Wayne and Associates, I can officially say that I have watched The Batman, and that is all you need to know. And that was all the excuse that I needed to hop back into what I consider the second greatest video game / comic book franchise crossover in history, the Arkham series. I feel good old Bats here, however, is maybe a tad too reliant on his fancy gadgets and seemingly unlimited skill set he possesses. Trying to beat the game without his weaponry is like trying to beat an old school western shooter with only a cattleman revolver. His upgrades, however, that I can maybe do. Let's give it a go. I suppose I shouldn't just call them upgrades, as the game so obviously classifies them as Wayne tech. To put it into perspective, if it were my tech personally, it would be called Wheels tech, and that just makes me sound like an egotistical jackass. Wayne tech makes good old Brucey here sound like the mean adjective I just said, but if it were actually true, then he'd be wearing this suit, and I can't make that joke here since I'm playing the PC version, so that's a done deal anyway. The point being, Wayne tech is forbidden, and it absolutely bothers my OCD that more than half of the skill trees don't start with the number 0. I don't know why that's a thing, but whatever. This means I can't kick ass in 23 different ways. This means that the Batsuit is reduced to its bare-bones state. This means that the Batmobile will forever remain as strong as a sheet of metal. To preface this as well, throughout your progression of the story, you get access to a brand new suit, which goes f***ing hard by the way, and a couple of Batmobile upgrades. One is aesthetic, and the others I promise not to use the added attachments for, if it makes you all happier. The more I suffer, the more the viewers enjoy the content. I know how this works. Like most sensible works of art out there, starting the game off as a role-playing Gotham City police officer on Halloween night is pinnacle comedy. What's even more hilarious are these outdated food prices. Who serves ice cream at $2.99 nowadays? I'm pretty sure that shit has at least doubled. Let it be known that Mr. Tattletale here was the instigator for Gotham War Z. Who knows if Scarecrow would have even set this plan in motion if we just left that man alone. There was only a single man capable of bringing the city of Gotham to its former night, the Arkham Man, single-handedly by himself. Bats here is supposed to turn back time to the days before the city evacuated and when people had eyeballs. The first of many grueling and strenuous battles commenced when I found probably 50 or so sidekicks beating on a defenseless role-playing police officer. Without the need to improve any of my skills because I'm already the motherfucking Batman, it's just me fisting a bunch of guys and achieving higher enlightenment. I won, of course. If I had died in the first fight in the game, this video would not have commenced at all, and I would have deleted this entire YouTube channel. I now present everyone's favorite mechanic in the entire game, the Batmobile, also known as the video game protagonist. You thought I was going to say Batman as the video game protagonist, but after careful concentration and consideration, I have dubbed the Arkham Knight Batmobile as being the most important character in the entire game. Not Batman, not my inexcusable driving skills, not even my guy Alfred. And Alfred is the closest species we have to the physical and mental embodiment of an alpha Chad. Inside Scarecrow's safe house was our first collectible villain of many in the form of the human-based vegetable. The game only proves me correct every single time we need the mobile bat car to either go somewhere or round up more collectibles for the Grand Canyon Police Detainment Agency. Our next objective was to fix up an old antenna so that when all is said and done and every mob boss in town is licking my boots, I can watch all the funny content that I can manage to find on DirecTV. Only problem being is that there's a hostage situation with armed gunmen, and while Batman refuses to take anybody's bullshit, a gun, especially one loaded with bullets, is just unadulterated bullshit. To give them even more of a disadvantage, Mr. Wayne Johnson here ordered his secretary Lee Everett to send in a brand new badass suit his way, complete with sciencey gimmicks that I'm just gonna pretend I understand so I can feel better about myself. But look at those abs! Damn. I should work out more. The hostage was rescued because I'm Batman, though I must add on that the batarangs were not useful in the least. If I were the big bad video game antagonist and I needed to produce something to bend everyone under my will, I'd do it under the guise of a factory at the edge of town. Scarecrow and I think very alike here, which worries me. I don't desire to have that face. The only thing Ace reminds me of in the DC universe is Justice League Ace. If you know, you know. I still cry about it to this day. How Scarecrow recruited the Arkham Knight is beyond me. That's almost half as weird if Batman would team up with someone like Bane. To establish the Arkham Knight, and Scarecrow more than we already have in the last 80 years of his existence, 3 out of the 5 hostages were killed, and I blew up a bunch of tanks and even a helicopter in retribution. I like blowing shit up, in case you didn't already know. There's irony to that statement, as the objective is to stop an explosion. It's less like dynamite and more of a gas grenade. I just like boom booms, not smelly. I'm sure hospitals absolutely love Batman, especially when fights like this one commence. He doesn't kill, but he's fine with traumatic brain injuries. You know, now that I think about it, I'm 95% sure now that Bruce Wayne bought out every hospital in Gotham and Arkham. It explains why he keeps his identity a secret, runs around as Batman every night, gets into fights like these ones, and always leaves his victims alive. Crippling hospital debt is copious amounts of money. Scarecrow's torture chamber was located in the middle of a gigantic room, and I've gotta say, as a pretty big fan of the aforementioned Batman villain, this is a face not even a mother could love. The idea was to theoretically blow Batman, but Bruce Wayne did Batman things and finagled his thick rod into this hole and disappointed everyone, especially the Joker here, who pointed a gun to my head and blew my brains out. Game over, GG. I beat Batman Arkham Knight without any skills or upgrades. Now that was an interesting April Fool's joke. I'm afraid April 1st has come and gone already, but he is called the Joker, so better late than never, I suppose.
You knew this was going to happen sooner or later. Me stuck deep inside you.
Well, that was something someone thought would be fun to say. Ace Chemicals officially blew up, resulting in God knows how many people out of a job and a very angry insurance company. Nobody likes a kidnapped daughter, especially not one commissioner of the fucking cops. And of course, he blames all his problems on me. It's always Batman's fault when shit goes wrong. I'm just gonna start blaming the voice inside my head when I do something I didn't mean to. I can technically claim insanity when all is said and done. Being the world's greatest detective does have its perks, especially when you make smart business decisions such as buying out all the hospitals, though no amount of money will ever satisfy good old Eddie here, aka the Riddler. Seeing Edward and Selina in bright garb kinda got the gears behind my big ass forehead running, and a change of clothes was in order. Black and gray are boring and overrated. They're also the colors of 90% of my wardrobe. That should say enough about my fashion sense in life. It's virtually non-existent at this point, and I wouldn't want it any other way. The Riddler is just the embodiment of a side quest, constantly striving for your attention, never the main focal point in any conversation ever, and don't get me started about all those fucking trophies he put everywhere. Batman to Riddler is like Spider-Man to Morbius, at least the Arkham variant. I'm sorry, Riddler fans, he's just my least favorite. I was forced to choose an upgrade for the video game protagonist. We're just gonna ignore this little tidbit and move on. Arkham Knight forced me on my back and established dominance. I found a breathing punching bag and dealt with my anger management issues and my superior driving skills paying dividends once again. I questioned the morality of ramming a tire larger than a Kia Soul on the neck of a man who tricked me, but then I remembered the hospital thing and suddenly nature felt like it was healing. I got a visit from Mr. Dick as he had intel on Chonky Cobblepot himself, the Penguin. Penguin was the next mob boss we had to collect for the cops, since clearly they can't do their job correctly. Instilling fear into every criminal in the country is what Brucey here does best, and before long, some morons decided that because they didn't see bats anywhere that they were home free. I'm fairly certain you hear me grinning right now. I want to laugh, but I'm keeping myself together. The grinning didn't last too long though, as I got ripped apart by a sentry gun. It was utterly embarrassing, but it wouldn't be a Deelwheels video as some bullshit didn't happen knee deep into the challenge. I end up just fisting this sentry gun and moving on. Inside the safe house was the fat man himself and about 20 or so cannon fodder. I don't understand how this came to happen. Wayne Johnson doesn't make mistakes, but at least Mr. Dick came to my rescue. 20 thugs versus 2 guys in costumes. My money is on anything that's electric blue. After locking the jokester inside this vault and blowing it straight to hell, he got ambushed by sentry turrets and dudes with guns, and they killed him. They killed my boy. Is this a bad time to mention that this challenge was my first playthrough of Arkham Knight in over 5 years, and perhaps I relied a little too much on Joker's advice? Even while dead, somehow Joker in Arkham Knight still gets more scenes than the one in Suicide Squad, and the scenes here were a lot better too. Jared Leto just cannot catch a break, can he? Penguin provided some use though, as he directed me to some giant airships in the sky where the 2 big bads of the game were heading. One destruction of a watchtower later, and we were free to roam around in a Zeppelin that's neighboring Bruce's his own personal house, where at the tippy top, he brought out yet another new tool that I cannot upgrade and is forever bound to be basic and monotonous, but it got me into the fancy blip, so it's been more useful than the batarang and bat claw the game hardly bothered to mention. I even got to do some zappies with my new tool and create an entirely new meaning to vertigo. Why nobody bothered to look for me when I was in control of the stability is beyond me. I just wish I could have knocked all these grunts off their feet, but apparently I was out of range. Such a sad life I live, resorting to violence everywhere I go. Who am I kidding? It's a pretty thrilling life, actually. I understand the 3 Joker storyline was incredible, but this is just ridiculous. This is the stuff nightmare fuel is made of, at least if your name is Bruce. Now I'm gonna have this maniacal laughter ingrained in my brain when I go to bed tonight. They end up taking my prisoner amidst the chaos, and we're even protected by pathetic turrets. Normally I could just break them with my bare hands, but even Brucey here has trouble against ranged weaponry that flies faster than sound. Conducting this articulate plan to shut down the turrets only resulted in myself getting rather nauseous from all the swaying back and forth, and people wonder why I despise boats. The floor maze here I designed myself, and I'm quite proud of the work done. It's always fingerprints with people who want good authentication. Who wants automatic weaponized sentry turrets where the only way to shut them down is some loser's fingerprints? I don't even know where they've been, and frankly, I don't want to know. Nevertheless, the world's greatest detective did world's greatest detective things and copied this man's fingerprints as if they were his own. Maybe I can hack into his online dating profile, perhaps his bank account as well. I do need to eat tomorrow. Today I learned you can completely knock a man out by simply kicking his knee in hard enough. I should take notes. I wish Lucius Fox would just take the night off. He keeps granting me upgrades for the world's fanciest Uber ride, and I just feel guilty at this point. With access to the second airship now open and a small fight that made me feel incredibly awesome behind me, the person we've been chasing the entire time turned out to be useless, and Bats here even knocked him out. See what I mean? When cutscenes happen, you lose control, and catastrophic events ensue. Joker had me play the pick the real Scarecrow show, and obviously right is always right, so I picked right, only I was wrong and I hate being wrong, so I reloaded the save and chose left, where I was wrong once again. This game show is bullshit. Although seeing Batman himself with a magnum got the adrenaline in my soul pumping and every thought of mine completely out of control. In the end, Loveless Face here got away, but we finally managed to track down Miss Gordon, who managed to get her brains blown out because Scarecrow's fear toxin is some really sick shit. I made sure to press F to pay my respects, you all should too. To vent out my frustrations and to honor the commissioner's daughter's memory, I took a stroll down memory lane and even got a bunch of people involved to help remember what was lost, and then I blew a bunch of shit up. Once again, we're back in detention, only this time to fetch my vegetable gals so she can cause photosynthesis to happen and make the scary fumes go bye-bye. We collected our collectible, but our hooded militia friend dispatched a big-ass tank that can rip apart the video game protagonist. I scanned it, and come to find out, a single well-placed shot from our minigun completely rips it apart. Let me say this again, a tank that big can get one shot. I'm gonna go cry now. Another upgrade was forced upon me. Please don't say I failed the challenge. I don't want to talk about this any longer. With literally zero trouble anywhere along the way, I dropped the vegetable off in her garden, and in exchange for her services, I have to find some buried treasure deep underground. I pay people a lot of money to figure out the answers to my problems. I don't pay people to cause these problems, however, as the entire garage was filled with the Arkham Knight's tanks. 20 of them to be exact. 20 tanks versus the noun that I have spoken enough of in this video already. Which side do you think wins here? While the garbage was being disposed of, I collected sonar capabilities to find the gold underneath Gotham and locked my assistant away in the freakishly large tower. However, will he survive? The treasure I was promised wasn't actually gold of any kind, just an astronomically gigantic flower. Good for the earth, I suppose, but clearly nobody gives a damn about going green. I was going to make a crappy segue and comment about Robin here being green, but I decided against it. It's just good to see little Timmy once more. Although these cheap Joker knockoffs they got stashed here ain't exactly doing anybody any favors, least of all Robin, who's completely wasting his time. The issue now is finding a machine called the Cloudburst, which acts as a dispenser for Scarecrow's funny gas. Go figure that it's in the one area that's most colorful, but also the most quarantined. Plenty of various machines needed to be brought down in order to bring the Batmobile over to the island. One way or another, Batface here always gets what he wants, and what he wants is his personal butler overseeing the bridge controls of Gotham. It's like having the key to the city, only in a much more literal sense. Pummeling someone who's ranked 3,000 on the most wanted list was a glorious way to pass some time before the Arkham Wannabat presented a fabulous magic trick and disappeared before my very eyes. He vanished faster than that one girl I liked who ghosted me 3 years ago. It's honestly impressive. The last line of defense was finally down, which means my aerial recon drone was set to scout out the big boom device. In the meantime, Miss Harley Quinn is dead set on collecting the group of second-rate tribute acts we're holding hostage down at the movie studios. Robin, of course, was tasked with defending them, but I'm honestly thinking of switching him out for Nightwing when this is all over. At least Nightwing has the Robin experience under his belt. The circus act was split into 3 different locations around the various studios, and it was only a matter of time before a fetch quest was involved somewhere in the main quest line. Every game seems to hate me. The first of the 3 Jokers isn't notable by any stretch of the imagination, unless your Bat's here tearing Robin a new one for being slow. Totally was not my fault, by the way. But the real kicker here was this corpse. I ain't never seen an unconscious individual get so jiggy when he's laying down. I'm man enough to admit that I laid on my back in this position and attempted this horrifying dance routine personally. It went about as well as you'd expect with someone who has 0 dance experience. There's a reason why I unplugged my webcam that night. The first time I watched this footage, in my mind, I was like, what an absolute dumbass. How did he not see the mirror? And then I implemented the code of 0517, not even grasping the basic concept of how a fucking mirror works. It's honestly a damn miracle that I graduated high school. I think the Joker's opening act to the opening act just might have been my favorite part of the entire game. Something about Joseph Kerr serenading me on a stage with spotlights, rotating platforms, and dynamite just hits different. It's kind of romantic. For a criminal psychopath, he's an amazing songwriter.
I killed all your friends and I can't stop laughing. Oh, yeah.
I regret absolutely nothing about this video. I almost forgot we were here to acquire 1/3 of the 3 Joker storyline. Compared to the other 2, this one was mediocre as all get out. It's just a big fist fight where the only trick here is switching characters when things start getting rough. But I am proud to say that this fight was where I got my highest hit combo. We don't talk about how a good chunk of it was dealt on the big guy alone, just that I got a good hit combo. Joker is not complete without his Harley Quinn, so we picked her up along the way back to the penitentiary of white, green, and purple. Insane people will do batshit crazy things, and this singular old man was responsible for 3 different murders and his own suicide. What did I say earlier? Robin was wasting his time, and now all that work was for literally nothing. Then he has the nerve to lock me in a cell when he thinks he can take down Scarecrow. Ha! Third generation tends to disappoint compared to the first 2, and then I locked his ass in a cell and told him his girl was dead. Oh, Bruce, you made something worse with your vague, sparing bullshit. This is my 3rd Batmobile upgrade. Is this video clickbait at this point? I sure hope not. I question how Scarecrow and the Bat wannabe had the budget to afford all these tanks that just get needlessly wasted. You'd think they developed something that isn't prone to getting one shot. Trust me, I have much more ammunition than they do tanks. While picking up my collectible from her bath in nature, the Knight is revealed to have a very large automobile capable of unleashing a large gas cloud over Gotham and turning it into Joker Wonderland. For plot convenience, as soon as it was discovered, it exploded. How generous of Ivy to stay behind to further progress photosynthesis upon the city. This gas cloud looks like Los Angeles when it's having a really bad day. The guy we chased down for nothing earlier had some answers, and unfortunately, we didn't. So it was on to find him. We got given a piece of tech earlier that allows us to mimic the voice of anybody we choose wherever I want, saying whatever I want. When this is all over, I'm programming this device to say some sizzling words of my choosing in the voice of Morgan Freeman. Turns out Stag here was hiding in a floor panel. He gave me some valuable information, and then I locked his ass in a cell and told him his girl was dead. That's what I wanted to tell him, but I don't know if he's single or not, or even straight for that matter, so I took a nice cylindrical cell as payment for the disappointment. Skydiving off a building with the Joker is something that I did not know I needed in my life. Now that I think about it, there's a lot of instances in this game that I did not know I needed in my life. God bless Mark Hamill, man. The next issue was getting underground to make Ivy very happy by planting some magic seeds and growing an enormous beanstalk. Do I even need to explain Batmobile versus wasted money battles at this point? Though I suppose adding tiny helicopters to the mix can spice a non-inspiring battle up on occasion. I played tug of war with the metal crate. I won, of course, and found the secret entrance to another f***ing tank battle. I spanked the tanks, rode into the Undercity of Jokerville, and proceeded through a pipeline because turning the earth green sounds like a fun pastime on a Tuesday night. I'm done talking about these. The rest of the underground was excruciatingly long, I got to drive upside down for a bit, how often can you say that, and we eventually found the perfect place to plant our seeds and a giant beanstalk spawned. The price of my success? A 40-on-1 tank battle. I am seriously going to have an existential crisis and a mental breakdown if these things do not stop attacking me, because they're always the same. They never change. The power of video editing is incredibly awesome, and it's because of it that you won't have to hear me scream at the top of my lungs into my pillow. Okay, I'm back. We're good. Where were we? Oh yeah. At the very least, the Arkham jackass is finally ready to have the confrontation, inside of a big-ass tank. At least with this fight, I knew what I was getting into. The Cloudburst was essentially a modified Cobra tank, meaning we had to focus on one specific spot and then retreat since the bad guys don't like losing. Not exactly sure how that behemoth is able to keep up with the main character for so long, but eventually I sent missiles into all 4 of its holes to disable that gigantic gun it has. Now is when the true battle begins. Throughout this fight, it became apparent to me that maybe I was too hard on the mobile Batmobile. As awesome as Bruce Wayne is, taking on a machine of this caliber without that minigun is a recipe for failure, and the Batman fails at nothing. No idea what happened here. If it could be explained in NFL terms in the comments below, that would be appreciated. Ivy looked like hell before she faded into the void, forever becoming my hero by shutting down Joker Wonderland for good and dispelling the Crow's laughing gas. Somebody was communicating in the private Discord channel without my permission, and I received a new electric gun to take care of business. Turns out it was good old James Isaac Gordon, getting into some rather bothersome trouble that no doubt will get him killed unless we do something about it. I was half tempted to leave and never look back, but an unstable wall presented itself and I like blowing shit up. Congratulations, Jimmy, you got a guardian angel coming your way. At the bottom of this pit was where we needed to go. I did try conventional methods to get there, but the time wizard said no. I tried for about 20 seconds or so to figure out what the purpose of this robot was, but then I gave up and stopped the air conditioning. The horsepower on Bat's car has to be astronomically insane to make this platform rotate like that. Any normal vehicle would have been ripped to pieces, but Brucey is no normal man. Although comparing him to Justice League standards, he's the most normal person in that group, and that's saying something. The Bat knockoff here, I don't even want to know how he managed to get a drill that large. Why he bothered implementing TNT down here is beyond me, but I used it to my advantage. It was fairly easy to beat him down. I died again because of a shitty jump, blew up a ton of dynamite because I wanted to, and sacrificed the video game protagonist to get away from the giant digging machine. Now that tank battles have officially concluded, I can finally rest in peace. I found James here tied to a chair while I was crawling around in the vents and decided he needed a little lesson before I swooped in to save the day. It was fun while it lasted, at least until Mr. Knight here revealed his true identity to the surprise of literally nobody on God's green earth, Jason Todd. Joker has successfully managed to fuck up the lives of all 3 Robins so far, Jason Todd being the worst for wear. Although seeing this gun morph into 3 different classes of weaponry in the span of 5 seconds did something to me that cannot be explained in this video, lest the corporate CEO Susan unleash her wrath and delete my channel. Sitting perched up 25 feet above the ground, it's a miracle that the Arkham Knight never found me, considering he claims to know everything about me. The character we were playing as is based off of a fucking bat, for God's sake. It takes 2 brain cells to deduce that perhaps staying low to the ground isn't what bats do. The sound of gunfire when I am on the ground should be enough of an indicator, but for plot purposes only, we won the fight against everything. The Red Hood is way too good of a character to damage even further, and I let him run away. Jim Gordon here is still my inferior, but I let him free, knowing he learned his lesson. You don't besmooch the name of Gotham Knight. He rather respected the name of Bruce Man and apologized, something that has not been said in the world of fiction since 2015. In what is revealed to be the biggest prank since YouTube's Gone Wild inception, the Scarecrow brought about Barbara Gordon, further proving to me that hallucination is a hell of a drug, and Batman's one of 2 fears luckily didn't amount to any serious harm. I spoke too soon when Fear Crow launched Barbara off of a building, and I was going to make him pay dearly. You don't play stupid games because they always bring idiotic prizes. Turns out RIP stands for rest in pieces, as I was brought a replica of the main character and along came more tanks to blow, because this game already hates me. At least we got a fancy new paint job, though I prefer the custom Bats paint. Really set the vibe when driving. Can we just talk about the Joker getting himself a cup of water here, yet there's no cup to be seen anywhere? I understand why, but I appreciate the gesture nonetheless. I suppose an assault on the cops was inevitable, and if you think I desire to fight 15 thugs hand to hand when the fancy car over there can do all the work for me, you'd be dead wrong. Outside was a shit show that I walked into for nothing in the end, but even dead I was still laughing at the absurdity of this scene right here. Some cop that dude is, first sign of danger and he goes running. Getting back into the garage, I still had to fight 15 on 1, so go figure. You thought that the 40 on 1 tank battle earlier was atrocious? This 60 on 1 battle is downright putrid. Victory vanished almost as fast as it arrived. Scarecrow found my house for second-rate Jokers and Robins and stole what was most precious to me that I locked away just hours earlier. And the only option now is to surrender everything that makes me Batman and come along as simply man. Taking off that belt proved to be incredibly awkward, as I was left with simply a spandex outfit and a cape that makes me jelly. It only occurred to me in this scene that the more the night went on, the more Joker's face became cleaner. It's almost as if he's really here. Which one of these Jokers was the real one, I couldn't tell. It mattered little. Many tumultuous minutes of combo breaking later, I found my beloved in my arms, and I did not hesitate giving him some much needed love. I heard he was touch-starved, so I made sure he was fed proper. Scarecrow threatened to kill my only friends if I did not reveal my identity, and it seemed as good a time as any to make myself the most famous person in the entire world. Bruce got injected with the fear toxin directly. I had a fun 15 minutes or so of playing as the Joker and getting my violent tendencies out into the world. We watched the destruction of the Madman commence at the hands of the Deuteragonist. The Red Hood Jason Todd himself went through his Zuko redemption arc. Scarecrow lost all his powers, and I beat Batman Arkham Knight without any skills or upgrades. If you enjoyed this video, consider leaving it a like, or if you hated it, leave it a dislike. And if you haven't already, and you like what you see on the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. Helps me out a ton. Have a good one. Peace out.